Yo, it's me, Danchou. Welcome to the Hideout, you guys, and welcome back to the Hideout if you've been here before. And as you can tell from the description, we'll be talking about Choujin X, the return of Sui Ishida. The return of Sui Ishida. It makes it even better that he's on Togashi time. That's right. He is releasing whenever he feels comfortable. He is moving at his own pace in his own time. And anyone who knows Sui Ishida well, Tokyo Ghoul was really stressing him out. He was pretty much having the same situation that Togashi was having with Yu Yu Hakusho as he was going through Tokyo Ghoul, and Tokyo Ghoul's a longer series, you know what I'm saying? So it's a really hectic to see that he was going through those type of things, and even Tokyo Ghoul ended well in my opinion, but didn't end exactly how he wanted it to. So now seeing with Choujin X, he has a lot more independence, it seems like. So I'm just ready to see where he's gonna go, ready to see Isayama's mindset, ready to see how he plays with all of these things. But before we get into it, as I always say, make sure you hit that like button and the subscribe button and the bell icon if you want more Choujin X content. And don't forget to hit the Patreon and the coffee links below if you want to do any type of monetary support. But before we get into it, lob the intro. Okay, so for this chapter review, I'm also just going to talk about Choujin X and how I felt about it. Not necessarily going through the whole chapter. It was 70-something pages. I'm not going through 70-something pages of content and talk about what the hell happened. It was an amazing first chapter, but I'm going to basically break it down to the key points so that everyone understands kind of the gist of what was going on with the story, because I have seen some people kind of confused. But basically, we start off with being introduced to this young girl who I'm assuming his name is Tomoyato or is something similar to that, because, you know, they're holding a tomato, but it's like Tomoyato, and I'm assuming like that's the nickname we're going with right now is Tomoyato for the young girl. We don't know exactly what her name is yet. So pretty much she's talking about how she's going to this fair on this plane, going to the fair on a plane because she's doing this produce thing for her grandpa and she wants to win so they can make a whole bunch of money and get more sales and, you know, make money, get rich, that, and third. Amidst all of that going on, you got this old lady who she's explaining all of this to, and this dude who's kind of like being super aggressive toward the old lady, and it's telling the old lady like, listen, I need you to hurry up, like move out my way, this, that, and third. She don't move fast enough, and dude tries to take her out. So after he gets all pissed and tries to hit her, the young girl blocks him and stops him, showing that she kind of has some strength to her. Then she gets all mad like, oh really? Then sets the plane on fire and kills everybody on the plane. Home dude does it. The dude does it. He puts his arm like that and sets a whole plane on fire. Tomoyato and everything in the plane begins to crash. Then we get the perspective change of back on our MC, right? Our MC is pretty much at school, dealing in class, you know, and his teacher's coming at him about how he's not paying attention to class right now, and about how like, oh, you're zoned out, you're looking up in the sky, and she has these big ass fucking boobs, bro. They fucking look tasty as shit. But whatever. And you keep continuing on. And so she starts giving this equation and all of this stuff. And a lot of what's happening from this point on through the chapter is us getting characterization. Us figuring out who our MC is. Apparently he has his best friend who the two of them get together and they like help people out and save people, etc., etc. So when he sees this young woman being antagonized by these dudes, he calls the friend like, hey, this is a woman in trouble, she needs help. But the MC isn't the one that actually get into the action. It seemed like the friend will get into the action and the MC will just do the recon type of deal. Well, the key things that I want to point out is that in this chapter, we're getting examples of what the Choujin are. And it comes off that the Choujin are just superhumans, basically, who are somehow given their superhuman ability in some type of form or fashion, which we aren't entirely 100% sure yet. As we get further into the end of the chapter, we see that there are these needle guns, you know what I'm saying, that people are being stabbed with, injected with, and that's turning them into Choujin. Now, that is something that didn't seem to be known and common to the MC and other people. And they figured that out now at the end, that that's what people are doing. So that means there's a faction out there that is turning people into Choujins. I'm really excited to see what's going on with them. But the relationship between the MC and his friend is what really excites me. It seems that their relationship is going to be a tragic one. It doesn't seem like they're going to actually be able to be best friends and work together. But I'm loving how the MC, he does the things he does, genuinely feeling like if he doesn't do it, he won't be able to stay friends with the MC, with his friend. Like, I know I'm not going directly in the midst of all the little mini details that happen in the chapter, but the thing about it is that I feel like those details are better left reading because they're not really crucial right now. They're more so just details so you understand the world that you're in. So you understand that the MC is this young, kind of like secluded to himself guy who's close with his friend and kind of his family. Then you have his best friend who is this outgoing, bold dude who has hands, he can fight, etc., etc. And they beat up that one dude that was messing with the girl as we seen, and then you just get the characterization of them being friends. But then toward the end of the chapters, when those guys they beat up come back for that type of revenge, basically, and you see that he not stabbed himself, but injecting himself with that serum or whatever, and turned himself into a Choujin. That's basically how all the story unfolds and gets to. Chapter 1 kind of was really a setup chapter. It wasn't really something where I felt like, okay, I have stuff to talk about now. What interests me is the fact that the plane apparently that all the people were on where they got killed on landed safely and nobody died. So if none of those people on there died, but we seen all of them get set on fire, what happened? I'm assuming the tomato girl had some type of ability that saved them. She seemed pretty important the way she was introduced. And if I remember correctly, the promo pictures that Ishida was drawing features her. So if features her like with like the security stuff on, like, you know, like the ghoul detective people had. So if that's the case, I'm assuming that Tomoyato, who I'm calling now because we don't really know her name, is someone who's going to become a part of some type of faction that's searching for Choujins or something of that level, right? With that speculation being there, and we see the people on the plane being alive, then we get the MC getting involved in that and getting in a fight with those people. It just was really just cool to see all of these type of things start to come together for the end. The two characters, the MC and his friend, to inject each other with the needles and say no hard feelings no matter what happens. So if these dudes have no hard feelings no matter what happens, I'm scared because the friend is laid out on the ground while the MC is upstanding, has transformed into, like, you know, this vulture type look, which is symbolism, which we saw earlier in the chapter where they talked about vultures and how vultures fly higher than any bird, which I found really cool. I didn't know that. But he turns into this vulture looking character and fights, you know what I'm saying? And that's how that goes. But his friend was still laying on the ground. His friend comes off like a lion to me, which is weird. I don't know if that's like me making that up, but the friend's come off like a lion to me. So I'm hoping that the friend gets some type of lion type of deal with him, but I don't know. But he's laid out on the ground. He could have died getting that injection, because I think they said something like it's not 100% that you'll get an ability or you'll become a Choujin after getting the injection. So, you know, it's nerve-wracking a little bit because I don't want him to lose his friend, because seeing him cry and saying, I feel like if I don't do this, I can't be your friend anymore, then stab himself for it, you know, and they inject each other for their friends and only one of them survive. Ishida, you would do this. So I can't be surprised if that's what happens, but you know, I'm hoping it doesn't happen. But yeah, and so we see him go into this really cool fucking new form. Like, I'm kind of fanboying out, and I don't have any like streamlined like way of connecting dots right now because it's the first chapter, and I'm just really just loving what I got from this. This is just me giving my first impression. I didn't do a reread. I didn't do any bullet points. I'm just giving my impression of the chapter so far. So it just really impressive. I really loved it, and I can't wait to see more of what's going to happen and what exactly is going to be explained with this Choujin stuff, especially with the first page saying it's somewhat of an affliction. So, you know, all over the place this little first impression review was, but expect more Choujin X to be coming to the channel, you guys. I'm covering every single chapter, every single time it drops. So be on the lookout, and I hope you guys love this video, and I hope you guys come back to the Hideout for more. And like I always say, don't forget that like button, don't forget that subscribe button, hit that comment section, and tell me your first impression of Choujin X. Tell me some things that I should have brought up that you thought was really cool that I didn't notice. Tell me how you feel about Ishida being back. I just want to hear about all of it, you guys. It's just really awesome. But it's your boy Danchou, and peace. Young noise.